All right, so starting off in the primary, probably, definitely, certainly going to be painting, fixing that outlet right there. The bathroom is okay. I don't hate this shower. I'm never going to use the tub. So, and it needs to be cleaned up. It needs to be worked on a little bit. There's like water kind of rust buildup stuff. The toilets in every toilet are like very short to the ground. And the cabinetry is going to get redone. These lights, I don't know why you'd put white on black like this, so we're going to switch that to black. But the biggest thing we're going to be working on right away is the closet. It's not terrible, but I mean, these are okay-ish, but just overall, it's a lot of space that's not being like utilized well to me. And also, this is installed very like cockamamie. The light fixture, we're going to redo with one of my favorite light fixtures. I'm going to be painting that light fixture to blend in. I'm going to be painting this entire closet to like a dark gray, and then I've got black cabinetry stuff that's going to go in here. I think it's going to look pretty cool, and I'm going to show you how the process, how we're doing it. I don't know how I feel about this fan yet. I don't hate it. I don't love it. And just like a lot of my other properties, I say that like I still own them as if they weren't just places I lived with my ex-girlfriend and then she left me and I had to go to a different place. So I've installed this in several different like places that I've stayed. This Project Square light. And even in the rental that I'm staying in, I put it in their kitchen for them because I love the utility of having the remote and not having to worry about like Wi-Fi or it being smart. You can install like little holders for remotes like right here in the wall and kind of use it as like an advanced light switch or pop it off, take it with you. It's got multiple color settings, like in terms of warmth for the light itself, and also it is RGB for a night light as well as just warm light for a night light. So it's a really good product, I think, for 60 bucks. I've used it all the time. I'm going to open it and paint it black to blend in more with what I'm doing in that closet. So let's do that. And we'll mark it off just enough to protect that nightlight LED underneath. I'll spray paint the sides with some matte black spray paint. And then on the front here, I'm probably going to use my paint pens just because I could make a template to protect the like lens here of the actual main light and then like just continue with the spray paint. But I'm not living in a situation where I have my full arts and crafts set up. So I have some paint pens. We'll just do paint pen on the front. So you can see the edge now is black. Ugh, that one's white. But we're still going to do this front part in paint pen. So I'm just going to go around and add in some black like that. And then when we get all the way around, it's going to look even better. So paint pen ended up being terrible. And like the paint ended up like coming off of the pen and onto spots. And then I tried to clean it and it didn't really clean all that well. So I'm going to switch to a strategy of putting this down and then using spray paint again. And that's also probably not going to work. Probably going to end up having to buy a new one. Ideally, you would want to try to fit something that fit perfect. And I couldn't find that. And I could order stuff, but I'm a very impatient human being. So what I'm going to try to do is just like free lay it. And it's not going to work, but we're going to do it anyway. All right, and strangely, I actually have a pretty good feeling about it. We just worked it around, and it's not going to be perfect. You're going to see a little bit of like the white edges there, but you know, for a closet light that you're never going to look straight up at anyway, I think that that's fine. Hopefully, with my paint pen issue on the lens, we didn't scuff the lens up or make that look like shit, so that when we actually go to plug the light in, it will still look and be good. Okay, I am an electrician, so I had to run an experiment just to make sure it worked and that the paint marks weren't coming up in the middle when trying to illuminate it, and everything is working fine, and I don't see those marks showing up, so we're good. Also, double experiment, because I have two of these and I swapped some batteries. Hello, princess. How are you? How are you? And the remotes don't interfere with the other light that I have that's the same thing. So it is remote specific. So that's pretty cool. Good feature to have. I gotta get this thing out of here, and they put this through the carpet for some fucking reason. Awesome. Let's this thing is unstable and jank-opotamus as can be. I'm gonna break it all down and get it out of here. Do. Yeah. All right, now we're going to be putting up that light fixture, and it's too dark in here to, and we're going to also paint this real quick, but it's too dark in here for me to set the pod up. I just thought this was really interesting. Get a load of this. There's like a sleeving over the ground wire. I'm wondering if that was like a homemade ad, because it's stranded wire, not solid core wire like the other ones. But anyway, gotta paint. One thing I'm trying out a little bit differently is I'm using these push-in connectors. I've never used them before. I imagine they're probably pretty solid with solid core. I'm going to be trying them with stranded and then going into the solid core that's in the house, but I don't know. Just figured I'd give them a shot. Haven't used them yet. All right, we did not end up going with the like cap plug things, because they didn't really survive like the mounting process. They weren't really loving the stranded stuff, the stranded cabling. I'm pretty sure on the picture of the box there's a stranded wire, but I kind of suspected they weren't, so we just swapped them back over to wire nuts. But hey, lights installed. Let's put the switch on the wall for it, the remote, and just give it a little function test. All right, so got the switch mounted. By the way, I found these magnetic mounts. They're pretty cool. All right, so there we go. There's our light. Make sure night light is working. RGB is working. Cool. All right, let's move on to putting the shelves and stuff in. All right, so remember, they took out this previous owner. I put some cardboard boxes from my, hello puppy, hi, to flatten it out a little bit more, and it actually flattened it out quite a bit. So I'm hoping that when the cabinets come in here, that won't become a problem area. Trying to put the closet system together, drinking a little bit. Of course, every company loves to put fucking Phillips heads and Allen key mixes. And they do give you a shitty Allen driver, but it's the shitty kind with like the fucking L, which aren't good when you have to do a million. Give me a bit that I can put in my fucking drill or screwdriver. I have these. Of course, I have a fucking bit set, but the one that I'm missing is 5/32, so this guy it is. Hi, it's my face. Just wanted to show you something that I effed up on. Not ultimately going to be a problem, but just a small little mistake. So right there you can see those turn screw things that I hate that these guys do. Also, I have a little bit of a gap that isn't there, but I've tried bashing it into place. It's just not going, and ultimately, it's not worth spending a ton of effort on. But so you can see right here, it's flat because those screws are on the other side, but down here, I have those two screws. This piece was definitely supposed to be the other way. Again, that's the little things. When you're doing these, you're eventually going to make a mistake. I'm glad the mistake wasn't something that's ultimately going to end up like causing a bunch of rework, but just something, if you're doing something similar and you happen to see this, I know there's only 5 of you watching, but if you happen to see it, now you know. All right, I'm back with a quick update because I've been just trying to get stuff done. I am moving into a new house, having to work, and I've been like very sick with pneumonia for like 3 weeks and having a hard time getting it to go away. So I didn't feel like filming as I put all of these in. Let me show you. This is the original like thing that I bought, and I will put that like in the description so you guys can see it. And now I'm just sort of like trying to decide like kind of where I want certain things to go. With my previous house, me and my ex-girlfriend had made the decision to hang every single item, and I don't want to do that. So right now I have like my retro rifle stuff, short sleeve button-ups, because that's what these are, that aren't retro rifle, long sleeve, kind of like my under tactical shirts. You're gonna hate me for saying that. My flannels. These are very important. I need to hang them up. These are mostly Roots of Fight and other brand muscle tanks. Sweaters, pants, swim trunkies, and shorts. I don't know what I'm going to do with that space. I'm kind of having a hard time figuring out the drawers. I've got underwear and socks in the top too. I've also bought like a filing cabinet with like a locking thing for here, and a like somewhat chest height dresser for here. So then I think guns are going to go up above it, maybe. Just taking you through the thought process. We're going to get back to the build. Links will be in the description for things. The filing cabinet, we have lots of instructions here. I'm not even going to like do a time lapse on this. I'm sorry. It's just so stupid. You want to see how many boxes I have? Just thought I'd show you a little bit of what. Not even done yet. Still have more things coming. Hi, Papa. Still got more stuff coming, and this is what it looks like. Just all the boxes and styrofoam. Filing cabinet all set up, right? So now we're going to jump into, there's going to be a dresser that's going to go here, and then above the dresser is going to go some pegboard for a gun wall. Now, I had gone kind of back and forth. I've always wanted to do slat or slate board or something like that. And a lot of people do it for like gun walls. I thought it would look good, but I was really torn between that and just like wall control pegboard. I used wall control pegboard at like the previous like 2 properties that I lived at where I did this, and I just don't, something about it. I ended up just I got slat board for laundry room, and I went with the pegboard for here. Normally I like to keep it like one type of system, so your accessories go between them both, but for whatever reason, I don't know, this is just what I did. I'm waiting for some stuff to come in for the pegboard, but for all intents and purposes, this is the last thing we got going on for this particular video. We got a dresser that's going right there. All right, I'm sorry. I've just gotten really, really lazy with all of this videoing. I've done so many houses, like 2 houses in a year. This is pretty much the finished product of the closet. You know, I added this filing cabinet. I still have quite a bit of like wall space around the door, like over here. Might just be some artwork. Not everything needs to be super functional, but yeah, and then just more guns are gonna go on that. Obviously, clothes in here. I still have quite a few drawers that don't have anything in them.